Hello, folks. This is Mark Talamini doing my bit for the SAGES conference course, Putting Out the Fire, Time to Burn the Burnout. First, I want to thank Drs. Keller and Romanelli for asking me to participate. I was asked to do a video case-based presentation from my leadership experience with respect to burnout, disruptive physicians, wellness, mental health issues, and learning points from those and how I handled them in my leadership role. So just briefly, in terms of my career, I was at Johns Hopkins for 31 years, chief of minimally invasive surgery there. I was chair of surgery at UC San Diego for 8 years. I've been here at Stony Brook in New York for 7 years as chairman in those last two roles. I'm also president of the practice plan, do a bunch of other things. So as I thought this through, I'd like to take the liberty to not do a case because, first of all, this is being recorded, and any case that I relate to you, even if I change the details, could get back to the individuals involved, and I'd rather not do that. I'd rather talk about principles that I think are really important as leaders to try to avoid burnout in your people. Confucius was supposed to have said, "Choose a job you love, and you will never have to work a day in your life." It's a quote that John Cameron loved to use with respect to his career as an academic surgeon and a chair of a department. And times have changed a little bit, but I still believe the job of chairman of a department of surgery is the best job in the world. I don't think there's any better. And I don't know if Confucius even really said that. I would like to change the quote slightly for a leader in a role like this. What I would say is create jobs that your faculty love, and you will avoid, for the most part, the burnout, disruption, wellness issues. Now, true mental health illness, that's a different category and has to be managed in a different way, and certainly all of us as leaders have to deal with that. But in terms of burnout, disruption, and wellness, I think the leader's job, to the best that we can do it, is create faculty experiences and careers that our faculty love. And that will deal with a lot of the burnout, disruption, wellness issues. The question is, how do you do that? Well, I'll talk to you about one aspect of doing that. I think one key feature of being a successful leader in academic medicine is the coaching aspect. In leadership, there's the vision aspect, there's management, there's finance, but being an effective coach is critically important in what I'm talking about here. What does a coach do? A coach assesses their people, figures out what their strengths and weaknesses are, maximizes their strengths to the ability that they can, shores up their weaknesses to the degree that they can, and figures out when that equation is just not going to work for the occasional faculty member and helps them move along to a different position. I think this is what, if we can do this for our faculty, will avoid a lot of these issues that we're discussing in this session. So how do you do that for people? Well, I read a book long ago now by a guy named Marcus Buckingham, who's been a business leader, writer in America. And he points out in that book that all human beings respond to 5 basic fears and needs. And for most of us, we have one of these needs, which is a primary driver. Also, for most of us, we have a secondary need, or maybe 2, that also drives us. But most of us have one of these 5 that primarily drives us forward in almost all the decision-making and things that we do. If you can figure out which of those 5 is most important to your faculty, you can identify it and you can meet that need for that faculty member, then that faculty member is far less likely to have issues with wellness, burnout, and the things that we're talking about. So hopefully by now you're asking, okay, what are these 5 needs and their corresponding fears? So I'm going to tell you what they are now. The first one is the fear of death. And the corresponding need that goes along with that is the need for security. And the question that people ask when they're articulating this fear and need is, can I provide for myself and for my family? So for some people, that's a real driver. Am I going to make enough money? Am I going to be able to provide for my family and for myself? Because the alternative of not being able to provide is that, and you're going to die if you can't provide food. The second one, and this is a very powerful one, is fear of the outsider. And the corresponding need that goes along with fear of the outsider is the need for community, which we all have. And I would say this one is a driver for almost everybody. And the question that people ask that corresponds to this is, am I part of the group? Or another way to articulate it is, am I in or am I out? Now, this can be a very, very powerful motivator. It can also be a powerful negative motivator. Clever Machiavellian people can use this driver to create a group that is insular and says, we're in, everybody else is out, everybody else is a threat, we have to protect ourselves. So this particular fear and need can be corrosive if it's used improperly. But if used properly to convince your faculty members or the people that you're working with that they are part of the team, it can be incredibly motivating for people. The third is also powerful. It's fear of the future. And the corresponding need is the need for clarity. And the question that people are asking with respect to this need and fear is, what is going to happen? Now, historically, soothsayers or people in the public space that can tell the future have incredible power. This is the power of certain religious sects to say, I know what's going to happen. And people naturally are gravitated to follow the kind of people who can say, I know what's going to happen. Now, as leaders, particularly right now with the pandemic, we really can't say exactly what is going to happen. But if we can provide clarity for the people that we work with about where we're going, and this gets back to the vision thing a little bit, and about what the future is going to look like for them, it's a very, very powerful motivator. And again, it will keep people away from that sense of burnout because believe me, it creates huge burnout if people are worried about what the future is and they're unclear about it. The fourth fear is the fear of chaos. And the corresponding need is the need for authority. We still, to some degree, are pack animals, and we need to know who's in charge. And of course, the question that needs to be answered with respect to this fear and this need is, who do I answer to? Who's my boss? In today's very flat organizational world, particularly in medicine, this can be a problem. When I came up, old school, you were in a department of surgery, you worked for that chairman, you didn't need to worry about anybody else. You didn't need to worry about the CEO. You didn't need to worry about the cancer center director. You didn't need to worry about the CMO. You needed to make the chairman happy, and that's it. Well, guess what? That world is gone. We're in very flat organizations where most of our faculty feel at least some pull that they're answering to more than one person. So the degree to which we can clarify for people, Who do they really answer to? The less stress they will feel. And the final fear of the 5 is the fear of insignificance. And the corresponding need, of course, is for respect. And the question that people are asking with that set of needs and fears is what I do important? Now, with surgeons, this is in general less of an issue because virtually everything we do in surgery is important. But there are certain personality constructs that really need to feel respect, and they really need to feel like what they are doing is important. So if you have a faculty member who is primarily being driven by this, it's a fairly simple matter to make sure you focus on reinforcing for them on a continual basis how important their work is, what a great job they're doing, giving them that sort of reinforcement. So that's what I would like to say about what I think is most important for leaders in trying to avoid burnout, disruptive actions, wellness issues, and the mental health issues to some degree. So reviewing again, it's the fear of death and the need is security. Fear of the outsider, the need is community. Fear of the future, the need is clarity. Fear of chaos, the need is authority. Fear of insignificance, the need is respect. Find out which of those 5 is most important for each of your faculty, and you will be able to coach them into a situation where they love their jobs, they'll never want to leave, and you're unlikely to have the issues with burnout. So I hope this has been helpful. And again, I thank you for asking me to participate. And hopefully next year we'll all meet in the same place at the same time and be able to enjoy being together. Take care. Bye-bye.